HOA rules and regulations to be aware of when selling California probate property. That's our topic today. We'll get started right after this. Inheriting a California probate property that has an attachment to a homeowners association and HOA rules and regulations could come with various problems for the executor or the administrator if that executor or administrator doesn't take care to make sure that they meet the obligation and know what they're responsible for when dealing with an HOA in California. When selling a California probate property in an HOA, you just need to do some research and make sure that you're fully aware of your responsibilities to that HOA. There, of course, are some fees and duties for those that are responsible for a California probate in an HOA, and those dues and fees must be settled, taken care of, completely paid for during the probate process and the sales transaction for that probate home. When an executor or an administrator of a California probate property, there is an obligation to disclose to your buyer all the information from the homeowners association. There's the HOA rules and regulations, and those must be disclosed in accordance to the California HOA disclosure obligations. And I know that's a lot. And that's why when you have someone like me that can help you through that process, it's not nearly as much as what you think it would be. The duty is outlined in Civil Code 4525. It's called the Disclosure to Prospective Purchaser under the Davis-Sterling Act. Sellers of California probate property are not exempt and have a legal obligation to disclose when selling a property that's in an HOA. Hi, I'm Kim Ward. I am a certified probate real estate advisor. My team and I have been helping executors and administrators for over 15 years to get successfully through the process of preparing, marketing, and selling homes in a California probate. So the best way to understand what is the responsibility of an executor or an administrator that's in the process of selling a home in probate is to simply contact the HOA directly or ask your CPREA certified probate real estate advisor for their help in contacting the HOA. By speaking with the HOA, the executor or administrator may discover that he or she is responsible for certain fees or in maintaining the building. This could require painting on the exterior, removing weeds from the exterior, or other actions that will increase the appeal of the exterior of the building for the entire HOA. I'll tell you a quick story. One time I have a property that I own that has a homeowners association in San Diego. And one time I received a certified letter from the HOA telling me that I needed to replace an exterior light bulb. And I thought, wow, they're walking around and they're writing that stuff down. And wouldn't it have been more efficient and less expensive to just carry light bulbs with them and stick it in themselves? But that's not how it works with an HOA. And the reason that I received that letter, that certified letter, was because it keeps the community appealing to the general public. And isn't that what we want when we are involved with owning a property or being responsible for a property that's in a California HOA? So as you can see from just beginning to watch this, that there are a lot of responsibility when selling a probate property in California. And the HOA, it obviously adds an additional layer to that sales process. When you get someone to help you through it, it can help to minimize the complexity through the process of selling a California probate property. Properties attached to an HOA, they have numerous effects that can cause the heirs or the executor and the administrator, it can cause a lot of complexity if they're not properly completed. You're going to have fees for maintenance and upkeep. Chances are with any property that's involved in a California probate, there's going to be some cost-effective repairs and maintenance that needs to be done to that property to make it appealing to San Diego area or California area buyers. You may run into an HOA that's going to have additional expenses that need to be paid even if the person isn't living there. The executor or the administrator will need to take care of paying the monthly HOA fees, because when the HOA fees don't get paid, and I've had some circumstances like this, those fees will incur other expenses. Late fees will be put on there, and if the HOA fees, the monthly fees, not paid, eventually there will be attorney fees, and it can really add up. Also, if there happens to be a mortgage on the property, and most properties in probate do have a mortgage, if that monthly mortgage payment's not made, financial institutions may start the foreclosure proceedings. To truly understand the responsibility and the fees that you can have in a California probate property, again, it's important to just have some type of contact with the HOA. Because knowing that some of the fees and some of the maintenance needs may change from year to year, simply just paying the HOA without being in touch with the homeowners association company could end up with you not paying the proper amount. I'm helping my mom. She owns a property in Santee. It's a little suburb of San Diego. And for whatever reason, the HOA had adjusted the HOA monthly fee by $10. And I had the payment on auto payment, and my mother was receiving the notices from the HOA company, and as it turned out, she didn't let me know that it had increased from $210 to $220 every month, and it turned into a thing after 6 months. They were tacking on late fees and all that, so then I had to reach out to them and say, hey, this was my mistake. My mother didn't inform me, and please could you remove those late fees? And they actually only removed half of them, which I thought was kind of crappy of them, but that's the reality that I didn't know because I hadn't reached out to the HOA. Again, when a property resides in a certain community and you're going through that California probate process, the responsible person must comply with what the HOA states. It's important you know that in the bylaws and documentation from the HOA is the explanation of the fees and costs. So once you become responsible, if you can get a hold of those documents, then you'll be able to know exactly what the fees associated with the property that's in probate in an HOA are. So the other part is the connection between the HOA board and the HOA and you as the responsible party. The board that oversees the HOA, they are the people that are responsible and can make changes to the HOA rules and regulations. They are in charge of everything from the landscaping to noise complaints to the light bulb situation. So any personal representative that becomes responsible for a California HOA property, you must make sure that that property and the people that may be living in the property abide by those rules and regulations. So some of the other responsibilities on what you're paying for in that monthly fee can be walls that need to be put up or sidewalks that need to be maintained, the lawn care so the property keeps looking nice. You may even have expenses for the roads up to the garages or carports. Even when the responsible party, the executor or the administrator, doesn't live in California, but they've taken on the responsibility for a California probate property, so of course you wouldn't be living there, you need to pay those monthly fees. You may not have, and you probably don't want to have, an active role on the Homeowners Association board, but the board will force payment if the payment is not taken care of on a monthly basis. In those HOA rules and regulations, the ones made by the HOA board or panel, they may seek legal action against the probate property if things aren't maintained, if the rules aren't followed, and if the fees aren't paid. Again, the best way to understand what the responsibility is to have some type of contact with the HOA. By talking with the board or one person that is on the board, the executor or the administrator may find out that they are responsible to do some painting in order to maintain the property. I once had a property that had a common fence area, but for whatever reason the HOA didn't cover that in the fees, and so we had to get a painter to go there and take care of the peeling paint on the fence, because otherwise the HOA was going to put fines onto the probate, and we didn't want that to happen. So we made sure that we got the fence painted and didn't have any additional expenses for the estate. Now, there are certain restrictions on what the HOA can charge for any kind of issues, and there's also charges when the actual property changes hands. So for instance, we put the property that's in probate in an HOA on the market, field offers that come in, negotiate offers, and we choose one, the best, highest price, best terms, and then we open escrow. Through that process, the HOA documentation will go directly to escrow from the HOA, and then from the escrow company directly to the buyer's agent. It will not come through me. We don't want to touch any of the HOA documents because we want it to be clearly going from the HOA to escrow to the buyer. Now, it's the buyer's responsibility to read all those documents. They're supposed to also get 12 months of the last minutes. So whenever the board meets, every month there's minutes of the meeting, typed up minutes that tell all about what happened during that meeting. Those also go to the buyer, and that way the buyer is fully aware of what's going on in that HOA community. When the property changes hands, again, there is a charge for the probate, for the executor or the administrator of the estate. There's a charge for those documents that I just mentioned, and it's typically somewhere around $500 for those minutes and all the bylaws and all the rules and regulations and everything to go from the HOA to the escrow and then to the buyer's agent and to the buyer. These are considered transfer fees and are typically the responsibility of the seller, meaning the probate, the estate, the executor, or the administrator. I hope you found this of value. This gives you a little overview of HOA rules and regulations and fees. If you like this, please hit that thumb button, subscribe to the channel, and let the algorithm know that you find this information of value. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.